So, you've got a background in bioscience, and you're pretty savvy with data. You keep hearing that the clinical research industry is just blowing up, but then, when you actually start looking for a job, that booming market feels more like a really confusing maze. So, what we're going to do here is build a strategic career map, one that shows you exactly where the real opportunities are and, more importantly, how you can grab them. Let's start decoding this thing.
Right off the bat, here's the big paradox we need to solve. All the headlines are screaming about incredible growth in clinical trials. We're talking a nearly 7% compound annual growth rate. That means more money, more studies, and way more complexity than ever before. But for a lot of people looking to break in, the path is anything but clear. It's like, where are all the jobs? They seem to be hiding in plain sight.
All right, so to crack this mystery, first things first, we've got to understand the kind of strange numbers behind this whole boom, because the story they tell is probably not what you're expecting.
Okay, and this chart right here, it tells a really fascinating story. On one side, you've got that huge market growth we were just talking about, billions and billions of dollars pouring in to develop new drugs. But then, you look at the other side. You look at the direct hiring for the hands-on operational roles at the big pharmaceutical companies, the sponsors who actually own the drugs, and that growth is basically flat. So you have to ask, right? If the big pharma companies aren't hiring more people to actually run the trials, where on earth is all that money going?
And that question leads us to our first huge clue. The jobs haven't disappeared. Not at all. They've just moved. See, there's been this massive shift happening behind the scenes, and it has totally rewired the entire job market for this industry.
And here it is. This is the engine driving that whole shift. This number is everything. Think about it. Roughly 3 out of every 4 clinical trials are now run by these specialist companies called contract research organizations, or CROs. The big pharma sponsors are outsourcing all the hands-on work. And that means the huge majority of the operational jobs, the real growth, the place you want to be, are now inside these CROs.
Okay, so what this all means is that the roles themselves have totally flipped. The job at a sponsor company has changed. It's not really about doing the day-to-day grind of the trial anymore. It's about managing the CRO that does the work. They are the manager. But the CRO, they're the doer. They are all about the hands-on project delivery, the operational execution. Getting this difference is honestly the first major key to figuring out your career path.
But wait, there's more. It's not just about where the jobs are. It's also about how the work itself has been completely transformed. I mean, the clinical trials we're running today are just ridiculously more complex than they were even 10 years ago. And that complexity is crying out for a whole new set of skills.
So what's making everything so much more complex? Well, it really boils down to 3 big things. First, the regulations are getting way tougher, which means more paperwork and quality checks for every little thing. Second, the science is just more advanced. We're using things like adaptive trial designs that need some seriously intense statistical work. And third, and this is the big one, we've got this absolute explosion of data from new tech like AI and decentralized trials.
And this quote, man, it just nails it, especially when you think about decentralized clinical trials. We used to live in a world where we'd get a few data points when a patient came into the clinic. Now we're managing these massive, non-stop streams of data coming from wearables and apps, while patients are just living their lives at home. And you can't just throw anyone at that. You need a totally new kind of pro to handle that fire hose of information.
All right, quick recap. We know the jobs have moved to CROs, and the work itself is way more data-heavy. So now, let's get to the good stuff. Let's break down the 3 main career archetypes that have popped up because of these big market changes. Figuring out which one you are is how you're going to find your sweet spot.
First up, let's talk about archetype number 1, the manager. This is your clinical data manager, or CDM. Their whole mission is project leadership. Think of them as the captain of the ship. They're responsible for managing the client, the deadlines, the budget, all to make sure a clean, compliant database gets delivered on time. It's all about leadership, not about writing code.
Next up, archetype 2, the builder. This is the statistical programmer. Their mission is 100% technical. They're the ones in the trenches, the coders, the artisans, who are literally building the critical data sets and reports that get sent off to the FDA and other regulators. They build the final product. And finally, our third archetype, the discoverer, the bioinformatics scientist. See, their whole world is different. They're not playing in the clinical trial sandbox at all. They're way upstream in the R&D lab, digging through genomic data. Their mission isn't about supporting a trial that's already happening.
It's about making a brand new scientific discovery, like finding a potential new drug target before a trial even exists.
This table really lays it all out side by side. It makes it super clear. The manager's mission? Manage a project. Their output? A locked database. Their standard? Good clinical practice. The builder's mission? Build a product. Their output? The official submission data. Their standard? The rigid CDISC data standards. And the discoverer? Their mission is to discover an insight. Their output is a new drug target, and their standard is the scientific method. I mean, look at that. We're talking about 3 completely different universes of work.
And, no surprise, the tech they use is worlds apart too. The manager lives inside specialized software like Medidata Rave. The discoverer is deep in the open source world of R, Python, and Bash scripting. But the builder, the statistical programmer, now this is interesting. They're in this unique, super strategic sweet spot. They absolutely have to know the industry's old-school language, SAS, but they are also in incredibly high demand for their skills in the future of data science, R and Python.
In fact, you can see just how crucial this role is becoming when you look at its evolution over time. In the past, it was SAS, SAS, and more SAS. Right now, it's a hybrid world. You need SAS plus R for things like modern data visualization. And the future? It's clearly SAS plus R and Python for all the cool AI and machine learning stuff coming down the pike. What you're watching is a transformation in real time. This isn't just a programmer anymore. This is a clinical data scientist in the making.
And the market is absolutely screaming for these new skills. Just think about that. In 2024, more than half, over 60% of job postings for statistical programmers now require experience with modern languages like R or Python. The industry isn't just suggesting it, they're demanding it. Okay, we've mapped the industry, we've defined the roles, we've looked at the skills, so now we get to the big question, the final payoff. What's the absolute best strategy for someone with a background in both bioscience and informatics? And the answer is right here. For someone with that specific, powerful blend of skills, the statistical programmer track is, without a doubt, the smartest move. It is the role that best uses your unique background and puts you on the most valuable, most future-proof career path out there. It's your golden ticket.
So why is this the hands-down winner? Well, let's break it down. First, there are actually entry-level jobs here for people with master's degrees, which isn't always true for senior manager roles. Second, it is the only role in the whole clinical operations pipeline that truly values and rewards your advanced skills in R and Python. Third, you get a clear, technical career path. You can keep growing without having to become a people manager. And maybe most importantly, it puts you right at the center of the action. It's the hub where you learn the absolute bedrock standards of the entire industry.
And look, this isn't just about getting your first job. This is a 5-year playbook for building an incredible career. In your first couple of years, you just focus on mastering the fundamentals. That's the price of admission, SAS and CDISC standards. Then, years 2 through 5, that's when you specialize. You use your R and Python skills to get yourself onto the coolest, highest growth projects. And by year 5 and beyond, this is where you become invaluable. You emerge as a technical leader, a rare, dual-fluent expert who can connect the old world of regulation with the new world of AI.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. The entire future of medicine is going to be built on a bridge that connects the rigid world of regulation with the dynamic world of artificial intelligence. The modern statistical programmer is perfectly positioned to be that bridge. So the real question is, are you ready to be one of the builders?